boys, back today to bring you another gun review slash what I think about, well, one of the most frustrating guns to get this season, and it is the exit strategy. Now, I'm about done playing Gambit. The amount of time it took me to get this goddamn gun is not even funny. But regardless, we're going to try this out in Crucible and see what we have and see if it can compare to the phenomenal Recluse. Let's just take a look at some of the traits we got here. We have adaptive frame, a well-rounded grip, reliable and sturdy. Arrowhead break, lightly vented barrel. Ricochet rounds. Rounds ricochet off hard surfaces. Now I know ricochet rounds got a nerf, but I'm still looking for it. I still love this perk. It's still a nice perk to have. Then you have two options here in the third slot. You have Underdog. This weapon grants a boost to reload speed as your health gets lower. And Threat Detector. Increase reload stability and handling when enemies are in close proximity. Honestly, in PvP, even in PvE, I'd rather use Threat Detector because Underdog is just underwhelming. Anyway, it's just very underwhelming to me. You just get reload speed, your health gets lower. It really doesn't help me in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're on a very intense one-on-one gunfight and it's close to mid-range. It's not going to help very much. In the fourth slot, we also have two more options. We have Swashbuckler. This weapon gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon. And we have Surrounded. This trait gains bonus damage when 3 or more enemies are in close proximity. Now, both of these could work in PvP, but the more reliable one for me, especially as a punchy Titan boy, is Swashbuckler. I like using SMGs and punching to finish them off. I use that a lot with Recluse. So I'm much more equipped to use Swashbuckler, because Swashbuckler is such a phenomenal perk. It's actually a very good perk. Surrounded could work too, but I use this more in PvE, because it is very nice to have, especially in horde modes like Vex Invasion, Menagerie, all that stuff. Overall, this is more of a PvE weapon, but it can be used in PvP, though the better option is obviously Swashbuckler. And we have a 10 Stability Masterwork, which is very nice to have for an SMG. And my mod I have is Freehand Grip, increases accuracy and ready speed while firing from the hip, because most time in a 1-on-1 PvP close range battle, I'm using hip fire with a SMG more than I am aiming down sights. It's just the way it is. Unless you got Master Arms on Recluse perk, then you can just map everyone because that gun's fucking broke and no one wants to talk about it. And just for lulz, because it's getting nerfed, Bottom Tree Striker. And I got to. So, exit strategy. Yeah. For a Ritual Pinnacle Weapon, it's very underwhelming as a whole. It does do decent damage in close to mid-range fights, but it feels like the reticle is a bit off to me personally. Like it wants to drift to the left a bit. When it comes to the gunplay of the weapon, it really doesn't feel as reliable as other top tier SMGs like, Recluse or Subjunctive. And in the heat of the moment fight, I would not use this as one of my top 3 choices. By itself, like I said before, it does decent like most other SMGs, but fails to lack in comparison to the other top SMGs in the same archetype. The perks that come with the weapon are meant to get at best, depending on if you can take advantage of them to begin with, to where I will say, the thing can melt if you can take advantage of Swashbuckler. Given that itself, it doesn't help get to that point of tranquility when it's naked very easily. You've got to be somewhat precise with the gun and hope you are close enough to finish them off with a melee in order to proc the perk and then continue to spray some unlucky guardians down within the next few seconds. Given the grind that came with the weapon, I don't believe it's worth wasting a day grind for like I did. And you can easily just work on it slowly over time to get it regardless. For you're not missing out on a top tier PvP weapon to begin with. I really do hate myself for putting up with the Gambit to just acquire the weapon, and I wish I never did to begin with. If I had known the lackluster reward that was awaiting me. I'm not saying the gun itself is bad. I'm just saying for a ritual weapon, there are better counterparts that are world drops. Overall, they're just better world drops to take out of than this weapon. After playing with the gun in PvP for a little amount of time, I'm rating the exit strategy an overall PvP score of 5.5 out of 10. PvE was Surrounded chosen instead of Swashbuckler. It's a decent 6.5 out of 10. Though it does shine more in PvE than PvP, there's better options for both, like Recluse, Subjunctive, Callous Mini Tool, as well as Risk Runner. They do a much better job in both categories. This being said, overall, I would give the gun a total decent score of 6 out of 10 for all-around usefulness. I mean, there's not really anything to write home about it. For a ritual weapon, it's kind of sad to see how meh it is. Like I said, it's not a bad weapon. It's decent at best. Like I said, in PvP, if you can get Swashbuckler procced, you can do a little bit of decent stuff for a couple seconds, but like I said before, to get to that point with Swashbuckler, you have to hope that you're in close proximity to finish them off with a melee, let alone you can out spray them down with this weapon to begin with, because like I said, it just feels like it's not that stable hip fire or aiming down sight wise. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.